re kgone go di kwala tse le tleng gore go neelana ka tsone.
As you know that the Constitutional Court has directed Parliament
Jaaka ha lo itse kgotla tshekelo Constitutional Court e laetse Palamente
or it must change the Electoral Act 73 of 1998
gore e fetole molao wa ditlhopho wa bo 73 wa
So that
1998
so that it includes individuals or independent candidates to participate on provincial and national elections.
e le gore e tle e kgone go tsenyeletsa bontlhopheng ba ba ikemetseng ka nosi gore ba kgone go tsaya karolo mo ditlhophong tsa kokwana bosetšhaba le kgotla theopeo molao.
So the Constitutional Court declared that act unconstitutional.
Ka jalo kgotlatshekelo ya molaotheo e ile ya kaya gore molao o ga o ise o tsamaye sentle go ya ka thulaganyo ya molaotheo.
The Minister of Home Affairs appointed a task team led by former Minister Musa
Mme tona ya merero ya selegae e ile ya tlhoma moeteledipele wa tiragalo eno e leng Musa.
That task team was to look on the methods or modalities to respond to the Constitutional Court judgment.
Gore ba ye go leba mekgwa e ka yone go ka arabiwang kgotlatshekelo ya molaotheo ka yone mo thulaganyong eno.
They've extensively consulted to sort input from various sectors, stakeholders,
Mme ba ile ba ikopanya le ditheo mo go lebana le seabe ba bantsi ba ba farologaneng go ya go utlwa mo go bone maikutlo a bone ka ga seno.
and they've arrived on two policy options that they've made recommendation to the executive.
Mme ba tla ba go ya go fitlha mo nakong e ka yona ba tla be ba romela ditshwaelo go bakhuduthamaga mo pusong.
The first option is that we must maintain the current electoral system and introduce independent candidates.
Ntlha ya ntlha e ba ileng ba fitlha kwa go yone ene ya nna gore go tsenyelediwe bontlhopheng ba ba ikemetseng ka nosi mme thulaganyo ya ditlhopho yone e bolokwe e le ka mokgwa o ntseng e ntse ka wona.
The second option was to consider the constituency electoral system.
Mme ya bobedi ene ya nna kgang ya gore go lejwe tsamaiso ya ditlhopho mo kgaolong ka nngwe.
The executive then tabled the Electoral Amendment Bill to Parliament.
Mme bakhuduthamaga bano ba ile ba tlisa fa pele ga Palamente molaotlhomo ono o mametleletsweng wa ditlhopho.
And the Parliament referred that amendment bill to the Portfolio Committee.
Mme Palamente e be e romela molaotlhomo ono go komiti ya portfolio.
On those decisions of the task team of Musa and the cabinet recommendation,
Ha re ba ditshwetso tseo tse di dirilweng ke setlhopha sa ga Musa mmogo le ditshitshinyo tsa portfolio committee.
the Portfolio Committee does not have a decision or Parliament.
Palamente kgotsa portfolio committee ga ba dire ditshwetso dipe ka ga ditshwaelo tseo.
We then issued an invitation for written submission to invite members of the public to comment on the bill.
Mme se re ne ra se dira ke gore re ile ra kopa maloko a setšhaba gore ba re kwalele dintlha tsa bone maikutlo a bone ka ga molaotlhomo ono.
We can confirm to you that we receive lots of responses for written submission.
Mme re ka kgona go le bolela jaana gore re amogetse dikarabo tseo dintsi tse di seng kana ka sepe e le tse di kwadilweng tsa maikutlo a maloko a setšhaba.
On the 2nd and 3rd of February 2022,
Mme e ne e le ka February wa bobedi le di 3 tsa February 2022.
we also receive requests for NGOs to make oral submission to the Portfolio Committee.
Ka letlha leo re ile ra amogela di tshwaelo gape tse di kwadilweng tse di tswang go mekgatlho e tshwana le di NGO.
We are giving this account so that you understand why we are here.
So re londa ya pego e tshwana le ene gore lo tlhaloganye gore goreng re le fano.
In all these stages, the committee does not have a decision yet.
Ka jalo mo dikgatong tsotlhe tse re tsamaileng ka tsone jaaka re duma ka jana komiti ga ya dira ditshwetso dipe.
We have started our public hearing throughout the country in Limpopo and KwaZulu-Natal.
Re simolotse kwa Limpopo le KwaZulu-Natal go tsamaya jana re reetsa ditshwaelo tsa maloko a setšhaba.
Today we are here in Schweizer-Reneke. Yesterday we were in Mafikeng.
Gompieno re fano mo Schweizer-Reneke maabane re ne re le ko Mafikeng.
It's your meeting to talk to the committee
Ka jalo eno ke kopano ya lona gore lona lo buele komiti
on how you think this amendment, how individuals or independent candidates can participate in the provincial and national elections.
gore lo akanya gore e ka nna ka tsela efe batho ka bongwe kgotsa bontlhopheng ba ba ikemetseng ka nosi ba ka tsayang karolo mo ditlhophong tseno tsa go tlhopelwa go nna karolo ya kokwana bosetšhaba kgotsa kgotlatshekelo molao ya province.
We are going to respect your views, which you are going to submit to ourselves.
So re tle go tlotla ditshwaelo tse lona lo tleng go dintsha le di lebisa mo go rona.
We are also aware that the Public Education Unit of Parliament was here to interface with yourself on the amendment bill.
Gape re a go lemoga gore go ne go na le ba tsa thuto ba ba tswang ko parlamenteng ba ba ileng ba tla go tlotlisana le maloko a setšhaba ka ga thulaganyo eno.
We are going to allocate you 5 minutes to make submissions to the Portfolio Committee.
Re tlile go lo naya metsotso e le metlhano ha o bua o batla go naya komiti ya portfolio ya ditshwaelo tsa gago.
When you have exceeded or your minutes have lapsed, you must appreciate when we request you to stop.
Ka jalo e tla re ha nako ya gago e fedile metsotso eo re kopa gore ka tswetswe o tlhaloganye ha re go folosa gore nako ya gago e fedile.
But we are not going to suppress anyone for submitting.
Me ga re tle go gatelela ope ka tsela ya gore gongwe a ska bua.
We normally start at 10 o'clock and end at 12:30 or 1 o'clock.
Gantsi re simolola ka 10 e be re fetsa ka 12:30 kgotsa ka 1 o'clock.
But you have realized that you have requested yourself so that we start at 10:30.
Me re ile ra bona go tshwanela gore re dira kopo ya gore re lo emele re simolola ka 10:30.
We are going to plead with yourself
Re tlile go ikuela mo go lona
that we must respect each and everyone who's going to come to the podium to make his or her own submission.
gore ka tswetswe mongwe le mongwe wa lona lo tlotle yo a tlabeng a eme fanofa a ntsha ditshwaelo tsa gagwe.
We must respect political parties or NGOs that are going to make their own submissions.
Re tlotleng makoko a sepolotiki mmogo le di-NGO tsa bao ba tlabeng ba ntsha ditshwaelo tsa bone.
Our interest is to listen to you so that we take notes for proper guidance.
So se re se kgatlhegelang fano fa ke go lutlwa re kwale dintlha e le gore lo re kaele.
We nominate 10 hands. You raise your hand. We recognize you. You come to the chairs. You make your input. When you are done, we go to another set of hands.
Ka jalo re tlo go kopa matsogo go tsholediwa matsogo ba ba batlang go bua ba tla bewa mo ditulong tseno tse lwa bua ha lo fetsa re fetela mo karolong e latelang ya matsogo a mangwe setlhopha se sengwe.
You can use any language and you must be free.
Lo ka gololosega go bua fano fa ka puo le fa e ka nna efe.
We are now taking this opportunity to invite hands for those that want to contribute to this Electoral Amendment Bill.
Ka jalo ke batla go tsaya tšhono eno e go kopa matsogo ba gaetsho ba ba batlang go ntsha ditshwaelo ka ga molaotlhomo ono o mametleletsweng.
Number 1. Anyone?
A gona le ope o batlang go bua.
Okay. Number 2. Let's get tshaba bageso.
Don't be afraid.
Yeah. Number 2, number 3, number 4. Yeah, let's start with this 4 hands and see how. Yes. Yeah, number 5. Thank you. Let me also recognize Councillor Thapelo Sedisho, who is representing the mayor here. Maybe if you can bow. I'm not sure there's still.
Re batla go amogela Councillor Sedisho o emetse ratoropo fano o ka ema ka tswetswe re go bone.
Thanks. We're appreciating your presence. Thank you.
Re lebogela bogone jwa gago.
People of the Democratic Republic of South Africa, Moses Kotane Province, Mamanga Garuta Segomotsi Mompati Region, Lekwatai Sub-Region, Members of Parliament, Members of Legislature, Leaders of Council, and ordinary poor masses of our people. My name is Moloko Clifford Mokoena. I'm an activist in the organization of young people that is recognized by Oliver Tambo. May his soul rest in peace. First of all, let me start by saying that we welcome the bill, and we don't know why Parliament is here with this bill, because the instruction has been given from the court of the law. And it makes sense. So it means that Parliament should implement. But when we implement, we should also look at the criteria of how do we best have bontlhopheng in our societies. We have got a very serious problem of our society being led by people who are not educated. That's why our rents in relative to other currencies is declining, because people who are leading us are not educated. And we cannot blame our people. We should blame Parliament, because when Parliament sits, it speaks about unnecessary things. That's why the court is able to tell Parliament what to do. But Parliament is the one that must tell court, or this is what must happen. So it means that we have got people in Parliament who are supposed to be on the street, and we have got those who are on the street who are supposed to be in Parliament. So it's very important that the issue of education, through both, whether you stand as an individual or a political party, there must be a certain qualification. And it must not only be in legislature and in Parliament, it must also come to the ground in council. Because we are being led by people who are not educated. And those people are people that are leading ordinary masses of our people. So if Parliament does not legislate education through this bill, then it means that we are going to come again here in 2040 to come and speak about education, while we have got people in Parliament that must speak about that. We want Parliament to come to the people about serious matters, not such matters. We accept the other bill of the expropriation bill. We are saying that that bill must be amended by Parliament. Land expropriation without compensation must happen, so that people are going to be liberated economically on the ground. I'm from Christiana myself. When I was driving past I saw many batho ba limile mole, ba limile sunflower, ba limile mafela, ba limile eng. Ba bangwe ba na le dikgomo, ba na le di eng, ba na le di eng. But who are these people? That will be my
So just the other part, as he was coming along, he says that you have seen a lot of other people who seems to be in good standing. They have got farms, sunflower fields, and different other types of, but who are those people?
the question that we are asking to members who are sitting in Parliament. And majority of those members are members of the African National Congress. When we go to the policy of the African National Congress, the 54th National Conference, it's clear that we must expropriate land without compensation. Now, Parliament is coming to the people to ask the people again. The people have already spoken through the organization that is in charge. What you should be coming to us here as we welcome the Somlomo of the province of the revolutionary movement. Thank you. We are saying to Parliament that we must be serious when we sit in Parliament. We must speak about serious issues.
Yeah, I can work on to conclude.
Yeah. In conclusion, we welcome you for coming to our people.
Thank you.
We also want to speak about the issue of fourth industrial revolution. It must not only exist in Parliament, it must be fashionable on the ground, so that when we speak about education, when we speak about fourth industrial revolution, our poor scholars, who are poor young people in our society, should have access to the fourth industrial revolution. That will be my submission. Amanda.
Thank you. Next.
Let me take this opportunity to thank the members, all the leaders, so who have given us the opportunity to come and make submissions as members of the community. Our struggle is only one. We really wish we can be taken note of.
Re tlhopha baeteledipele as ba-councilor-a as baeteledipele ba rona gore ba re thuse ba kgone go sheba ditlhokego tsa rona.
So we really need counselors, we need leaders who can be able to look into our needs.
Ba ba ka tsena mo malapeng a rona ba bona di-situation tsa rona bana ba batho ba go ba le sentle ba bangwe ba go bala mo diterateng.
Who can actually be able to come into our own homes, to come and look into the situation. We've got children who even are street kids, they sleep on the streets.
So bone a re ba tlhopha ba itlhophelela gore ba kgone go tla go ja tšhelete ya parliament.
Unfortunately, when we elect some leaders, they are happy to be elected because they are going to eat money from the parliament.
Ba tla gore bolela gore ne bone ba ka re thusa if ever re ba pega re ba voutela re irang ba ka re thusa ka tsotlhe le mesebetsi e re tlhokang.
They say that if we do elect them, what they will be able to do is they will be able to give us some help. Even employment is something that they can be able to render help to us about.
Kana kwa ditlhopho ba itse le go tla mo matlong a rona ba re kopa ba re bolela ba re promise lefatshe le godimo.
They were able to come into our houses during the elections and they promised us heaven and earth, beautiful things.
Mara a setse re editse go ba voutela ba re shebela gore itse hela a se tlhole ba re itse ba eta le ka dikoloi ha se tlhole ba re bona le gore bona nou ya.
But now after voting for them, they no longer even recognize us. They just drive past us in beautiful cars, etc. They don't even recognize our existence.
Le tsele ba tsamaya mo gone tse di pothole yana go sana le dithagote mo lekeišana go sana le mabone di light di timile tsotlhe mo lekeišana.
Even those roads on which they are driving, they are full of potholes. The township is full of, it's dark. There are no street lamps. Nothing seems to be working.
Go matla ka le go bereka batho ba ba wane each and every now and then. Le di kontraka tsotlhe tse di tsenang go dula go tsengwa batho ba ba wane.
And then when we look at some of the people who are doing some jobs, it's only the very same people all the time. Even when it comes to sanitation or whatever, it's same people all the time.
So rona re ikopela ela gore re kopa le rona re shebiwe as community go shebile community ya rona ba tla gore development e tle mo community.
So we really want you to look into the situation in our community. We want it to be developed and to actually better it.
Le bana ba ba editseng dikolo ba di tselana mo gae bana ba tlogela le dikolo a tlhole go shebiwa gore bana ba etsa sekolo gore go etsagala.
And those kids or students who have graduated are just sitting at home doing nothing, and nobody cares to care as to what is the way forward from here.
Ha gona opoti ka mphathe as the leader ba bontsha gore mare bone re ba pegile a le ka matshwanile gore ba tle go dira mosebetsi wa bona.
There is not even a single leader who is doing anything for the reason that we actually have elected them into the position.
So nna ke ne ke yone tletlebo ya ke ne ke itlisitsena mo pele ga parliament.
So that is my submission which I wanted to put before the parliament today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Let us, thanks very much for your comments.
Ra go leboga Ra.
Before you can continue, Ra, we understand that there are other issues that are related to governance or service delivery.
Ra tlhaloganya ba gaetse gore go na le mathata a mang a mantsinyana a amanang le puso kgotsa ditirelo mo setšhabeng.
And if you have realized, we did not stop him
Ha le ka tlhokomela ha na bua ga ra ka ra mo emisa
because we are members of parliament here and elected by yourselves,
ka gonne re maloko a parlamente a tlhophilweng ke lona
and the councillors are here.
le ba councilora le bone ba teng fa.
What we will request is that
Se re tla se kopang ke se
the item of today is on Electoral Amendment Act.
ntlha e go buiwang ka yone gompieno e amana le molaotlhomo o mametleletsweng wa ditlhopho,
On how individuals or independent must participate on provincial and local government elections.
gore bontlhopheng ba ba ikemetseng ka nosi ba ka tsaya karolo jang mo ditlhophong tsa go tshwana le tseno.
If we can spend our input around that,
Ha re ka leka gore ditshwano tsa rona e nne tse di amanang le ntlha eo,
you will assist the committee and the parliament to understand to your inputs that you will have submitted.
lo tla be lo thusa komiti le parlamente go tlhaloganya dingongorego tsa lona tseo le di tlhagisang.
We're not saying you must not raise it, but let's focus on this item we're dealing with now.
Ga re re lo se ka lo tlhagisa dintlha tseno tse mme se re batla gore lo se dire buang ka se go buiwang ka sone gompieno.
We have officials here, Mr. Matonsi.
Re na le Rre Mathonsi, motlhankedi wa rona fa.
You will take notes for that gentleman.
So o tla kwala dintlha tse di re buiwa ke lekawana le la rona.
So if there's any other matter that is outside of what we're dealing with, we'll request that you liaise with him. You will liaise with members of the committee and councillors.
Ka jalo ha ile gore go na le ntlha epe engwe e sa amaneng le se go buiwang ka sone re tla go kopa gore ka tswetswe lo buisaneng le ene lo buisaneng le ba councilora ka ga seo.
We're pleading, we're not suppressing you to talk to us. We're saying this Matonsi, he knows issues. All the public hearings, there were areas where we're receiving such comments and we're noting them so that we take them to various committees in Parliament where they're dealing with the service liberal issues.
So ga re le ske la bua lo ka di tlhagisa fela se re le ka go se tlhalosa fano fa ke gore di tshwaelo tse di ntseng jalo tse di sa amaneng le kgang e go buang ka yone Rre Mathonsi wa di kwala fatshe le go gong go gore tsamaileng teng re nile le dikai tse di tshwanang le tseo se ile gore ditlhatso ga se gore di tlhokomologilwe mme fela gona le batho ba di tshwantse gore di ye go go bone le Rre Mathonsi wa itse gore di tla isiwa kae.
So I'm building a case so that when you are not within the item, I'll request you to stop and refer you to Matonsi.
Ke tlhagisa ntlha e yana ke direla gore e tla re ha o bua be ke utlwa gore ga o bue ka se re se tletseng fano ke be ke go emisa ke go romela ke go Rre Mathonsi.
We're lobbying for that understanding as the members of the committee.
So re batla gore re tlhaloganyaneng mo ntlheng eo ka tswetswe rona jaaka maloko a committee.
Thanks, you can proceed.
Re ya leboga o ka tswella ra.
Ke a dumedisa.
Greetings.
Concern ya ka ke gore about the Electoral Act 73 of 1998, that I'm of the opinion that it should be amended. It's long overdue. The other concern e ke na le yone ke gore as it stands now ke gore we vote for a political party and then the political party impose a leader, and at times leader hana the credentials. So hara kana le independent candidates and the criteria e dirisiwang like for register as an independent candidate. As we know, well-established political parties bana le funders. So it's easy for them to register. And now haketla as an independent, I cannot gonna le chelete eo because the amount e between da ke Electoral Act, it's too much for but batla ba na le bokgoni to represent the community. Mara batla ba deny their opportunity criteria and procedure e leng teng ko Electoral Act. Now my opinion ke gore e amendiwe, and because now if ke batla go remove the leader, I must first go through, or it must first go through the political party, and then the political party tla montsha. So if etla gore ya amendiwa er ha re na le problem e re itse gore re go tlhopile straight and direct, and then we can also reme mo le re go goge straight and direct ntle le gore re ye through a political party. Ke a leboga.
Thank you. Next. Our team were requested to introduce ourselves. Yeah, when they finish, I will request the first gentleman and that one to come back, just introduce their names. You can proceed.
Okay.
Thomas Mabot. Thomas Mabot.
My name is Thomas Mabote.
Independent.
I will go straight to the point related to an independent candidate.
In Namatsapa, because independent candidate.
I'm struggling with this thought of actually having to have independent candidates elected. When we come to the point of making the decisions,
if then as a right,
and then maybe this person doesn't qualify, and then he's going to oppress you.
Because there's no one above him. It's a sort of how mo party, you are able to follow the protocols of the party and make transparency which the party requires from you. So if you are independent, it's getting to a point of saying, we are going to have some lawmakers within the community. And it's too much creating a problem whereby now we are having a lot of political parties. Sometimes they are unable to deliver, but they force matters to oppose the ruling party because they want to be there, just to be there. There's no reasons why should we include independent candidates, because the problem is if this particular person is being voted, where does he contact? Where does he ikarabela ka? La ha le phoso, ha re na gore re ka mora re re o phoso. Wa go remaina ntse le autocracy fela, of which hantlela a guiding. Because
so the point is that if this person has not been compliant, who is he going to report to? Because the problem is that we have such like people, and perhaps they haven't been living up to the required standards, but they are just being left to continue as if they are still compliant. So that is the problem that we need to deal with. But who do they report to? So this is the point where I would like the parliament to improve matters related to the independent candidates.
We must not allow politics to be more than the people who are on the ground. Let us join hands, work together so that we must know if someone is wrong, what must be done. Who is reliable to discipline that particular chef? Because independent, properly corruption.
So this independent candidates thing is just corruption, nothing else.
Thank you. Next.
Lina la me ke uthusitse Dupa.
My name is Uthusitse Kupa.
Dupa.
Dupa, sorry.
Ke amogela baeng ba rona ba ko parlamenteng.
So I welcome our guests from parliament.
Ke be ke amogela le baagi ba rona.
And then I also welcome members of our community
Mo ntlhakgolong e re tshwereng mo letsatsing le.
in this main point that we are discussing today.
Ke tshumurile ka gore
This is how I would like to start.
ke le nosi hela nna ke itumeletse gore parlament a rona e bi tlile ka ntlha e tshwanang ka eng.
Personally, I'm very happy that our parliament has come with this particular matter.
Ka gonne re na le bontlhopheng ba ba ikemetseng bone ba re ba bitsang bo independent candidate.
Because now we have the independent candidates.
Re bena le maloko ba ba tswang mo di party tsa rona.
And then we've got members who are coming from within our parties.
Ha o tsa batho ba babedi ba o tswang go party le o ikemetseng.
If you take an independent candidate and the one who's coming from within the party,
O bo ba tsa o ba bapisa.
and then you compare the two,
O mong wa bone o ikemetseng o itlhelana le ditokomane tse di ikemetseng o dirileng ka ga dipolotiki o ka kgonang go ka bereka ka batho.
and then you find that an independent one has some proper documents that seems to qualify him. He can be very proud, he's got supporters.
Yalo yo tswang go mokgatlong o kgethiwa ka baka la gore o na le support e tswang mo bathong
And then the one
o
from
mo mokgatlong wa gagwe.
and then the other one from within the party has been elected simply because he's been supported by the people who are within that party.
Mare gana one ko re gana gana ponelo pele ya go bereka ka batho le dikgatlego tsa batho.
But he doesn't have a vision and an interest of working with people.
Jaanong tlhakgolo ka ke gore
So my main point is,
re fa di independent candidate tšhono.
so we give the independent candidates an opportunity.
Mare mo ntlheng e nngwe ke gore ga ba gatelele.
But now, on the other hand, we are actually oppressing them.
motho o na le matla gore a ka rana setšhaba a berekela setšhaba
And this person would want to work for the community,
mare o gatelelwa ke ntlha ya go registera ko IEC
but what actually gives him problems is the matter of registering at the IEC.
madi a tshwanetse a registere ka one ga ana one mare go berekela setšhaba o bereke motho o berekang le batho
He doesn't have money to be able to register, but he has an ability to work and help the community.
so se ke ne ke se kopa mo parlamenteng ya rona ke gore
So what I'm trying to ask from our parliament is,
ba ye go shebella kgang e ya di-registration
they must go and look into this matter of registrations.
sometimes ga o le motho o berekang ka batho
You see, when you work with people
o na le dikgatlhego tsa batho
and you have people's best interest in your heart,
o gatelelwa ke tšhelete
and then the only problem that you have, you find that is money.
gore o heleletse o sefa batho ba o nang le dikgatlhego tsa bone
For you to be able to serve the people whom you are having their interest in your heart,
o palelwa ke gore o ka ba sefa ka baka la tšhelete
you fail to be able to serve them because you don't have money.
tšhelete e ba registerang ka yone e ko godimo
The money, the registration fee is too high.
so ke ne ke kopa parlamente ya rona gore
So I want to plead from our parliament,
ba ka se kgone go khutlela ko morago
can they not go back, please?
le bone ba kgone go ba naganela sometimes wa bereka ga o bereke o na le dikgatlhego tsa batho ba go rata le bone
To go and consider this matter, because sometimes we find that you are unemployed, but you are interested in helping the people.
mara ga o kgone go ka registera batho ba batla gore e nne wena moeteledipele wa bone
And you are not able to register, and on the other hand, you have these people who actually want you as a leader,
ka baka la madi ela ga o kgone go tla ba etelela
and
pele
you are not able to be their leader simply because of money.
o gatelelwa ke mekgatlho
So you are being oppressed by other parties.
so ke ne ke kopela gore parlamente ya rona e gore le yone e boele ko morago ya go buisana ka kgang ya di-registration
So I'm asking for the parliament to go back to the drawing board, go and discuss the matter of registrations again.
ke a leboga
Thank you.
Thank you very much. We are also joined by a member of parliament, Ntate Kenny Morolong.
Re Kenny Morolong leloko la parlamente o sa tswa go goroga,
Thanks very much, Honorable Morolong.
ra go leboga motlotlegi Morolong.
We are going to invite another set of hands, the 10. We requested that we must note the names of the two.
Re tlo go kopa matsogo a mangwe gape, re kopile ba bang ba babedi gore ba tle gore na maina a bone ka tswetswe
For purpose of recording.
go ka ntlha ya gore ra rekota ha re riana.
Ladies and gentlemen, nna ke nna Thembani Dumas.
Thanks, Ntate Temban.
Re Themba Ndumas,
Baron Khanabo.
Barwa Khanabo,
Baron, B-A-R-O-N.
Baron Khanabo.
Yeah, thank you. We also requested that we must wear our mask when we are in the, so that we observe the protocols of.
Gape re kopile gore re ne re ntse re tsentse di mask tsa rona ba gaetso ha re ntse ka fa re tla re kgone go tlotla melawana ya tsa boitekanelo.
Let's recognize further hands.
Matsogo a mangwe gape ra kopa.
Number 1 at the back. Number 2. Number 3. Number 4. Number 5, me. Number 6. Number 7. Who else? There was a hand at the back, I don't know. Okay. Okay, number 8. Can you get number 9, 10? Okay, this will be second set of hands. Thank you. You can start.
Re ka simolla karolo ya bobedi ya matsogo.
Sorry, let me explain. There are those I think who came late. We allocate you 5 minutes to make your submission.
Bangwe ba ba ka tswang ba tsene lata. Re le na metsotso e le metlhano ha o eme fane fa o ntsha ngongorego ya gago.
But we are not going to suppress anyone. When we request you that your time is lapsed, you must appreciate that we have given you extra time.
So ga re tle go gatella ope ba gaetso me ha o lemoga gore nako ya gago e ile re go kopa tsamaisana le rona.
You want to join? I saw your hand there.
Go na le
Yes, you
letsogo
can.
la gago.
Thank you. We can start.
No, thanks very much. My surname is Bunches. My colonial name is Paul. Let me acknowledge the leadership and start by saying we welcome the Electoral Amendment Bill. Secondly, we support the proportional, the PR system because it allows representation of women, youth, and other marginalized groups. Thirdly, we also support option 1 of MEC as it is contained in the amendment bill. Fourthly, I would like to be short like a miniskirt. Number 4, I think it is my own perspective that the amount of registration must remain the same, with that of the political organization and that of the independent candidates, on the basis that we'll be able to can deal with an opportunistic tendencies of other members who are from the political organization but want to use the independency as a way to can milk the resources of our state. So I think with that all being said, I thank you.
Thank you. Next.
My name is Dipua Grace Ahmed. I would like to take this opportunity to acknowledge the leadership of the parliament, councillors amongst ourselves, and members of the community. Na ya ka ke ne ke re a bile a mentiweng mara a go shebiwang di qualification because gona le bo magana go buswa ba ba tsamayang ba ya go independent motho a teng a sa tlhaloganye sepe le communities behind ene.
So I would like to say that the bill must be amended because there are some opportunists who actually present themselves to be elected as such, and that is actually the problem.
Yeah, the qualification must be.
And of
also-
course, their qualifications must be looked into.
Thank you.
Ke a leboga.
Thank you. Next.
My name is Nation Selamo. I'm working for Department of Health. One must firstly request, or one must firstly appreciate your presence. It will be very wise of our participatory democracy for you, the members of parliament, from time to time to come and visit us based on our problem. Topic of the day. Yes, we the progressive forces, we do agree with the amendment. Our request should be, there should be a threshold. The reason being, should it be any problem, suppose we elect candidate A, then he give us a problem, then it will be easier for us to petition him. I believe that it will send a clear message to the participatory democracy. I thank you.
Thank you. Next.
Ya bua mo ke Tolo Jeremia Molefe.
Speaking here is Tokoloi Molefe.
Le nna ke sokonta molao o gore o be teng,
I'm also supporting the bill
because independent e botlhokwa mo setšhabeng.
because having an independent candidate is important within the community.
O ka rata mongwe maybe mo party gore a ka dira ba sa kgone.
You might be liking someone within the party, but that person not been able to deliver.
And then ha go ema independent aba khona ka independent go go etela pele ya ka motho o no rata go motlhopha.
But then if you take him out as an independent candidate, then all of a sudden he's able to be someone who's able to deliver and works well as an independent candidate.
So ke a leboga parliament e bitlile mo bathong.
Thank you very much for the parliament's presence
Well,
within the
Councillor Pao.
people. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next.
Hai dumelang tlhe bagaetsho.
Greetings, honorable members.
Ke lebogile ke mme Maselwane o eme mo.
Thank you very much. Standing and speaking here is Mrs. Selwane.
Leina la ka ke Kidibone Sefane ke Ndaba.
But my name is Kidibone and the surname is Ndaba.
Ka lenyalo ke Mabote.
And then I am married in the Mabote family.
Ke dula mo Ward 2 mo Ipelegeng mo Schweizer-Reneke.
I live in Ward 2 here in Schweizer-Reneke in the township Ipelegeng.
Ha ke re ke Maselwane ke gore nako e ntsi ha ke tla bentse ke lela mme fanda ga ne ke re ke ditletse ka license, mining license ke yo.
When I say I am Selwane, that is when translated means someone who is crying. I always bring submissions and complaints, but I thought today I must bring you this.
Mining license o heditse 9 years o sa bereke ke sa kgone go sign.
So this is a mining license which I have had for some 9 years. It hasn't been able to be put into use.
Aba ke na le hatse le ha sa le ntse ke lela ka lona ha ke ipitsa Maselwane le tseilwe le neilwe makgoa ka ntse ke le bolella nako e yotle ke setse ka di hectares tse di kana tse 52 tse ha sa le ne ke na le tsone from 1994.
Because I've been fighting for the land for a very long time, and I'll be having something like 64 hectares which I have had for all this period of time, and I am just struggling to put this into use.
Okay. Oh, are kwane?
Jano, I don't have money. I need to renew this, but money is not what I possess right now.
Are kwane ntate? Limme. Yeah. Yeah. Akere re kwane hore re wereka jwang, so re mo protect so that we take note of what is raising. Well, re tla kgopela to or le tla fa Mr. Matonsi the issues, the copies, and will liaise with the Committee of Energy and Mining, go Parliament. I think Lintate Morelong they will respond to you and assist on how little shumajo. Is Yamagrime? Yes. Next.
No, thanks, Honorable Chair. Let me greet honorable members of the Parliament. My name is Onkai, his name is Metli. Name is Onkai, his name is Metli. The IPC convener of the NC in Ward 2, Lucas Totomisan branch. Chair, I think also would like to support the bill as presented by the Parliament. However, Chairperson would also want to make an emphasis in this scenario that much as political parties are registering and they are paying a particular amount, we equally want to make an emphasis that equally independent candidate must pay the same amount as political parties pay. Necessarily for one reason, Chair, that we have seen what is happening in coalition government. If you do not level the ground for each political parties, including independent candidate, you are going to have a situation where we have flock of independent candidates in government. And our democracy, much as the parliament is trying to strengthen it, we have seen that at times coalition collapses. So that's what we want to make as emphasis, Chairperson, that the amount must remain equal. Chairperson, because in provincial legislatures or in national assemblies, independent whom would wish to contest in that space, normally we are going to see independent candidate who comes from the political parties because of that populism, as they've been leaders of those political parties. So we want to say, let's level the ground. Independent candidate must pay the same amount. Also, Chairperson, we want to the parliament to look onto the issue of the quota, because it's just unfair for a political party to have a seat with a number of 30,000 votes, and then you have a small party or an independent candidate having a seat with that lesser number. So that's what we are saying. Maybe it's important that the IEC must also look onto the issue of the quota. Maybe improve, maybe increase the number. It must be rather be 2% if they've been using 1%. That's what we want to make as an input, Chairperson. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next.
Greetings.
Kenneth Mokaudi.
I am Kenneth Mokhauta.
Mokaudi.
Mokhauti.
Mokaudi.
Mokaudi.
Yes, thank you.
Kenneth Mokaudi.
From Lekwatemane.
From Lekwatemane.
Under the NPO. Okay, from Lekwatemane.
From Lekwatemane.
Under the NPO called the Mighty Liberator Youth Information Center. I welcome the bill, but looking at the non-compliance, Section 31C, Chair, my concern is, if you look at the point A, it says, the chief electoral has to issue a letter to a political party or a candidate who is not complying. But then my problem is, if you go inside the policies of the political parties, there are policies that state something like the political party has to protect its own people. So you find the way that the appointed or the candidates does not comply. But then the political party will be there covering up because it's their own people. I don't know that you get my point. So, my question is, why can't the parliament have a legislation role that can play along with the community or the NGOs or the NPOs, looking at the interest of the masses, of the people, direct apart from the political parties? Because if Osheva, we tell you that political party is under yone, but ke safara because of the ruling party.
Sometimes you find that there is no political party which I'm under, but I am suffering because of a political party.
Ga ke itse ditletlebo tsa ka. Okay, the ruling party ya tsaya ya submitted to parliament.
So now I might have my documents and then the ruling party takes them and submit them to parliament.
But parliament equal back to political party.
And then parliament takes them back to the political party.
You find where political party is protected by batting.
The political party basically is protecting its own people.
Then Rona the masses not discouraged towards the government or towards the parliament.
And then we as the masses, then we become very discouraged and towards the parliament or to the political party itself.
Because we
on the ground are the ones who are on the receiving end of oppression.
So nna ke kopa go itse gore role ya rona as the NPOs.
So I just wanted to know the role of the NPOs.
Gore re tshameka role efeng if then the political party or the candidate ga di comply.
As to what role do they play if the NGOs or the political parties are not compliant?
That's number one.
Number one.
Number two, ke kopela ka utlo alliance for meole wa mining. Ke kopa hela ka na re utlo go alliance for me wa mining.
Or just as you said, you will have some liaison taking place with regards to the lady with a mining paper.
Re kopa re direle section A ya lo rena batho ba di NPOs.
So we would like you to actually formulate a section like that for us people from the NPOs.
Because re feel gore gona le melao e meng e le goreng re ka nna le ditsenyo mo go go parlamenteng from the social development.
Because we feel that there can be some laws to be formulated that can actually allow us entry into the parliament. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you. Next.
Ke kopa go simolola ka go dumedisa. Ka leina ke Matlhonolo, ka sefane ke le Kantsi.
Allow me to start with the greetings. My name is Letlhogonolo Matansi.
Now if I was to say whether I support the bill or I'm against the bill, I would say I'm against the bill. Lebaka la ka, my main reason being, I'm of the view ya gore if you were sent by a political party to the parliament, there will be only that particular political party that will recall you from the parliament. Therefore, if you are in the parliament as an independent candidate, I think you will have a problem if you will have to recall you. So, in closing, because I cannot be long, in closing, I was just saying, I'm against the amendment of this section because I believe akuna umuntu ungaphatha umhlaba ayedwa. Amen.
I'm of the opinion that when it's an island, you can't lead the nation on your own, just by yourself. Thank you.
Thank you. Next.
Thank you. Leadership from Parliament.
Allow me to greet the leadership from the Parliament.
And also lebatlali mo gae.
Including the citizens.
Lina la me ke Phimelo Sylvester Williams ke tswa ko Naledi, Ward 9.
My name is Sylvester Phimelo from Naledi, Ward 9.
Ke amogela the bail, the electoral bail. Ke a lebogela, ke a amogela ebile ke motlotlo ka ona.
I'm very proud. I accept the bill. I'm in full support of it.
But can I issue ya the independent candidate because if automatically I pala gore ba gone go create the seat mo region, then therefore ba ka se kgone go dula ko province because of remember gore before ya region you need to serve in the province. Now if ha ba palwa ke gore in the PR council from the region ba go serve bo mango province ba palwa ke go serve region ka gore ha o le independent candidate ke nagana gore mo local o kana wa khona go tlhagelela ka ntleng ya gore go tla botswa mo branching ya Ward 1 o bo ratuwa ke ba tlhali ba Ward 1 but from the region o ka se khone go seba mo region because of mongwe le mongwe wa go batla go itlela a ikemela le nosi ke a leboga bagolo.
In summary, in short, however, as much as I support the bill, I've got a challenge with this independent participant that if they cannot do better within the local level, how will they be representing us at a provincial or higher offices if they cannot even perform within a minimum position here back home? Thank you.
Thank you. We're inviting other hands.
Re kopa setlhopha sa matsogo gape.
Number 1, 2, 3, 4. Number 5. Any other hand?
Matsogo a mang gape bagolo.
Okay, let's start.
Greetings to the parliament. Greetings to the public, to the citizens at large. My name is Tumelo Tsweu. I'm from the village called Bloemhof.
Okay.
I'm standing here before you in full support of the bill. Simply because if you can look into issues of registrations,
for the independent candidate.
Particularly for the independent candidates.
Ke nagana ga go botlhokwa go di fokotsa ka ntleng ya gore re tlo ba di candidate re le dintsi tšhelete ge e le ko tlase.
I think it's important to reduce the amount of the registrations for the candidates because that will enable us to participate in massive numbers.
I'm not saying it's going to be important. I'm saying ga go botlhokwa.
It's not important, so to say.
Ka gonne di candidate re tlo na ba bantsi go feta di political parties le batho ba re nang le bone mo metsing.
Because in fact that will invite too many numbers of independent candidates.
And ke mo re tlo go tsa di advantage rona bo setla boshang.
That will now allow us opportunities for the laymen's.
Nna ke a re bile e dule le hela yalo.
Let the bill remain as it is.
Ga amount e le 2000 e be 2000.
If 2000 is said to be the amount, let it be consistent as it is.
Ke a leboga.
I thank you.
Thank you. Next.
Greetings to the leadership.
Ward 5, Station 5.
My name is Itumeleng Khobe from Ward 5. My worry is the youth here in our community. Especially their behavior and conduct. Most of the time, our youth, they seem to be confused, not to know what they should do. Most of them, they've completed their graduations or education, but they are just committed onto drugs because similarly, there's nothing that they can do actually in the community.
Pay attention to sports activity. Because
I suggest, or rather request humbly, that we look into activities like your sports and recreation to keep them busy, because without that, they end up engaging in other illegal or not so good behavior in the community.
Yes, sir. Hansi ke bone ba re tsang ka ra ba re bone sentle se ena hangata re batho ba re lona ba tla bona diphetogo mo lekešeng la rona ba tsamaisi ra leboga.
We also want to be considered. Seemingly nobody pays attention to us. Please recognize us, the leadership. I greet the honorable members of the parliament.
Joyce Boysen.
My name is Joyce
Boysen.
Boysen. My concern is the groupings of the elderlies,
Gobane ke bona re sokotse thata.
because we're struggling a lot as the adults and elderlies.
Ha o ka sheba mo di-sentence tse dingwe, ha re na le ditlhoko Palamente e re thuse because ha re na di-toilet.
Particularly in terms of service delivery, we just asking the parliament to assist with ablution blocks.
Ke lebogile today ha Palamente e tle go utlwa dillo tsa
I
rona.
really appreciate your presence today as the parliament to come and listen to our complaints.
Re leihlo le le bothata mo bagolong.
Your attention to the elderly is very much important to us,
Ha re le basadi bagolo bo re le mo gare ga mekgatlho.
especially those that are participating within political parties.
Tlhokomelang gore re mo tulong e yang, a re na le di-toilet or jarateng e ntse yang.
Please look into our well-beings, especially in terms of the sanitations as to are we okay in our living conditions.
Ha re ya ko ga masepala, a ba ntshe tsebe ba reetse.
When we go to the municipality to request such services, they need to pay attention to us, to our requests.
And e ska ba re tshepisa ba sa dire sepe.
They shouldn't give promises and commitments yet they are not fulfilling their commitments.
Re mo re atlegile ka mo Sharon.
We are successful now because of Moshalom,
Mara ha le ka ya ko le yanong ga gona di-toilet gona next.
but if we were to visit that place, there's actually
Okay.
nothing there.
Batlo protect me
Ba batla go sireletsa ma.
because she's raising important issues.
Kgang e buang e botlhokwa thata mama.
I'm sure you are aware that the president and his cabinet, they were here in Northwest last week.
Ke tshepa gore le lemogile gore mopresidente wa Afrika Borwa na le mo bokone bophirima pe ja go feta.
And all the issues that you are raising here, even if you didn't attend the Imbizo in Mahikeng,
Ka jalo dingongorego tse tsotlhe tse le nang le tsone le ga ile gore o ne sa tsaya karolo mo kopanong ya Imbizo ko Mafikeng.
the issues that you are raising, they were raised in that Imbizo, but also affect you who are residents here.
Dingongorego tsa lona tse le di tlhagisang fa ka tsheko di tlhagisitswe mo Imbizong kopano ya Mafikeng mo go mopresidente.
So we want to appeal to you that the president and his cabinet and the government of Northwest,
Re tlo go le kopa gore presidente le kabinete ya gagwe le puso ya ko bokone bophirima.
we are certain here as members of parliament that they've taken those notes and will follow those issues as members of parliament.
Re na le bojotlhe ebile re tsaya maikarabelo gore dingongorego tse tsotlhe tse le nang le tsone re dingwetse fa fatshe re tla tla re di tlhatlhoba.
So we are requesting that anything that has to do with service delivery, we know that there was Imbizo here in Northwest, and just park those issues and we focus on the Electoral Amendment Bill.
Re kopa ka tswetswe gore dingongorego tsotlhe tse le nang le tsone le di beeleng ka tlhakoreng re nametsane le kgang e re tlileng fa ka yone e leng yone matlamelo a ditlhopho.
All of us here, four of us, Honorable Morolong, Honorable Ross, Honorable Mulegwa, we are members of parliament and we work throughout all areas. So the issues we are raising, we are noting them, but we are convinced that there was an Imbizo in relation to governance and service delivery on the issues that are affecting the people of Northwest. That's why we want to stop you on the matters relating to service delivery so that we focus on why we are here. And we're not suppressing anyone. We're noting these issues, and we requested you that there's Mr. Matonsi here. If those related issues, we're going to request you sit down, Mr. Matonsi will come to you, take notes, your contact, and I promise you that they will interact with yourself.
Ra kopa ka tswetswe bagolo gore ntate Mathonsi le kabinete ya parlamente fano ke a boletsa gape gore dingongorego tsa lona re di isa tlhogong re tlo go di kwala fa fatshe ra ba re tla gape re di lebella mara ga re mo maikalelo go gatela ope le santse le na le tšhono ya go bua le rena mara santse re le tshepise gape re tlo bona mo go lona ka dingongorego tse le nang le tsona ke a leboga.
So ke tlo kopa mama ba feleletse and then ba dule fast. I'm just assisting so we don't spend time on issues that were dealt sufficiently last week by the president and the cabinet and the government of Northwest.
Ka tswela pele, ma.
So re kopa fela gore le rona la re le bagodi le ntshe le re shebe.
We still continue as the elderlies that we insist that you pay attention to us as the elderlies of the community.
Mare ke tlhalogantse sentle gore e mo systeming because e ne le ko mafikeng.
But I do understand and I really appreciate the fact that it was attended to as it was just discussed in Mafikeng.
Nka leboga ga le tswa mo dilo tse le di dirang gompieno tse di buang.
I will appreciate that whatever that you came here to discuss today,
Di ke di diragale.
to put it in practice, let it be implemented.
Ska ga sala go ntse ya ka re bona go sena opela o tlhagella.
There shouldn't be what you already used for, that you just promise and
Go
disappear.
bua o sa dire sepe go thuse sepe.
Just to promise and never deliver what you promise. Thank you.
No, thanks, Mama. Next.
Thank you very much. Greetings to all members. My name is Reginald. My surname is Dintwa. I'm from Blue Mauve in the Lekwatamani sub-region. I am the chairperson of Bitumelong Youth Council, which is a council of young people, a representative and a stakeholder in the municipality. I accept the bill as it is. We welcome it. However, we are not guaranteed that just as much as political parties have been failing to produce credible leaders, we don't have any guarantee that independent candidates are also going to be as productive as we'd like them to be. Now, my suggestion is going to be this. Maybe we should look into how we select and accept the candidates that come forth. For an example, we should look at their historical activism within the black community. Also, we should look at their superior intellect. And then there's a system that they use in China, they call it the meritocracy. Now, there's a system that they only look at your productivity as a person, as an individual, what you've done and what you can do as a person for the people that you want to lead. So now my mind was just that we should look at how we select those people and accept them as perspectives of the people that want to lead. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next.
Okay, Dimela.
Greetings, good morning.
Obuanke Opa from Mirdol.
Yes, speaking is Opa from Milton.
What one? Nasiki ntlha ke batla go ikitisa fela ke ya gore bonkgetheng motho inne motho o botlhale yone ke a dumalana.
My point today is that, yes, I do agree that whoever that should be representing us should be a person with some educational background. Yes, I agree on that point.
So ya ka re nditse re na le community le yone e fie ntšhono ya go tlhopha motho e leng goreng ba rata gore ene a ba etelang pele.
Of course, allow the community to be the one nominating the preferred candidate that will be the one effective to represent their interest as the community.
Because community ke yone e leng gore gantsi phela le batho ba e leng gore ba ka itlhophela bone ba nna le tshepo ya gore ba ka tloga ba tsetsa dilo gore di ka tsoga di diragala ka osana.
It's a fact that when the community elect their preferred candidate, there should be somebody that is living within the community, that they can have confidence on that person to represent their interest.
Okay,
I will just stop there in short.
Thank you. We're now inviting other hands, further hands. Number 2. Number 3. We only have 3 hands. Okay.
Ke cabinet ka itlile ka moka.
I would like to send my sincere gratitude to the cabinet for coming today.
O emeng ha ke Sekolo Moremi,
My name is Sekolo Moremi,
mo Schweizer-Reneke mo Ward 8.
here in Schweizer-Reneke, Ward 8.
Se ke llang ka sone ke lala ka council e leng around Northwest.
My concern is the council that is here around Northwest.
Ke lla ka di sports. Ha o tsena mo di sports groundung le di ground di field. O kra di soccer field fela tse dingwe di ground tse dingwe tse ngata ha ba re thusi ka tsone. Sports tse ngata bana ba rona ba di bona mo TV, ha ba di bone in normal hela yana.
I'm more worried about the sports activities, particularly the soccer fields. Unfortunately, our kids or ourselves as youth, we only see this fancy sports activities on TV, but they don't really exist within our community.
Se sengwe ke dikolo around Northwest. Tse ngata di agiwa mara di felletswe. Which
This
is
includes our schools, especially here in our area. The projects do start, but they never complete the structures of our schools.
municipality ya rona o concentrate thata mo di mmerekong, ha o concentrate mo di game tsa rona le jaaka mphakati. Are happy hela just because tla re bereke. Sometimes we need le rona re tlhoke re ne le sports, something o se dire mo bophelong.
Similarly, our municipality is only focusing on job opportunities. It seems like they're turning a blank eye on issues relating to sports activities. We also want some recognitions on that issue of sport and recreation.
Ke a leboga.
I thank you.
Next.
Ke a leboga motsamaisi tiro.
Thank you, Chairperson, for this opportunity.
Ke leboge le lekgotla la rona le legolo la Palamente
I will also want to thank further your cabinet,
le batho botlhe ba ba tlileng tirong.
including the massive number of people that are supporting this session today.
Nna lebitso la ka ke nna Chico Tshepo Lekgare.
My name is Sepo Lekhare Chico.
Ke dula teng mo motseng wa rona wa Mamusa mo Ipelegeng.
I'm from the same village here in Ipelegeng.
Le nna ke amogela bill e le goreng e tlile fanda.
I'm proud and standing here in support of the bill today.
Mare nna gantsi thata ke na le dingorego.
However, I have my own complaints and submissions as well.
Ke mongwe wa baithuti ba sekile bana ba ithuta mo ngwageng o fetileng re be re fetsa mophata rona wa Magamatlong.
I'm one of those that graduated back in time. I'm part of those that just completed their grade 12s.
So gantsi thata ke ile ka nna le mathata morago ga mophata wa ka wa Magamatlong because ke ngwana khutsana.
Okay. Let's hold it there. We'll request Mr. Matonsi to take your notes.
Sure.
Yes.
I'll call Mr. Matonsi gore a tseye leina la gago.
Mr. Matonsi, he will take your notes.
Ntate Matonsi o tla go atumela a tseye ditshwaelo tsa gago ntate.
So ke tla nna ka dula fatshe.
O ka dula fatshe.
Yes. Thank you. Next.
Dumelang.
Greetings.
Leina la ka ke Nomsa Taonyane from Ward 2.
My name is Nomsa Taonyane from Ward 2.
I am the ANC member.
I'm an ANC member, she said.
I support the bill. All the political parties and all the independents must be treated the same. Ke nagana le gore they must all meet the same requirements. And all those who fake or make frauds or pay for the votes, the action must be taken to all of them and they must be removed. Ke a kopa bagolo botlhe ba ba utswang di-vote, botlhe ba di-fraudo, botlhe ba ba itlhophang ba sa tlhophiwa, ke kopa gore ba tsaele dikgato. Thank you.
Okay, let's just refresh for the last time so that at least we get a sense of this platform. We said earlier on when we opened the meeting and we did a brief summary that there was an NGO that took the president and parliament to court, to constitutional court, because of the Electoral Act 73 of 1998. The contest or the argument was that that act is unconstitutional because it does not allow individuals to participate in the election to be elected to be provincial legislature and national assembly, which we call provincial and national elections, period.
Bagaetsho re rata fela go dira gore re tlhaloganye ntlha e re tletseng fano fa ke molaotlhomo o mametleletsweng wa go tlhophiwa ga bontlhopheng ba ba ikemetseng ka nosi ba tlhophiwa gore ba tsaya karolo mo ditlhophong mo teng ga kokoano bosetšhaba le mo karolong ya kgotlatheo molao ya porofense molao kgotlatshekelo e ntshitse taelo ya gore molao o ka tsela eno o eme ka teng ga o tsamaisane sentle ka tshwanelo le molaotheo wa naga ya rona ka jalo o tlhoka go mametlelelwa gore batho bano ba re buang ka bone ba kgone go tsaya karolo mo dikarolong tseo tse pedi tsa ditlhopho tse re buang ka tsone re batla gore lo itlhaloganye sentle.
So there was a task team appointed by the Minister of Home Affairs to look on how the independents or yourself as individual you can participate in the provincial and national elections.
Ka jalo tona ya lefapha la merero ya selegae ile ya tlhopha setlhopha gore se go seka le go dira dipatlisiso tsa go bona gore gongwe batho ba ba tshwanang le lona jaana batho ka bongwe lo ka kgona jang go tsaya karolo mo ditlhophong tseo tsa kokoano bosetšhaba le kgotlapeho molao ya province.
Because as the status quo is only political parties that are participating in the provincial and national elections.
Ka gore ya ka ha re itse gone jaanong jaana ke makoko a sepolotiki fela ao a tsayang karolo ya go tlhopelwa go nna bontlhopheng mo kokoanong bosetšhaba le mo teng ga karolo ya rona ya kgotlatheo molao ya province.
So the committee and the parliament are directed to correct, hence this amendment bill that we are submitting to you members to guide how these individuals or any person to participate in these provincial and national elections.
Ka jalo parlamente e kopile komiti gore kgotlatshekelo e kopile parlamente gore e baakanye phoso e mo teng ga molao o ntseng jalo e le gore go tla go sekasekiwe sentle le go leba gore go ka kgonega jang go ka dirisiwa mekgwa e ntseng jang ya gore batho ba ba ikemetse ka monosi jaaka bontlhopheng ba kgone go tsaya karolo mo ditlhophong tseo.
So ourselves were here to listen to your views, and we just want to do this refresh so that you understand why we are here.
Jaanong re fano fa go tla go reetsa maikutlo a lona ka kgang eno ke sone se re se tletseng fano fa re batla gore lo tlhaloganye gore tota re tle go dirang fano.
It's important for you to interact with the committee on this Electoral Amendment Bill.
Ka jalo go botlhokwa gore lo buisane le komiti eno e ka molaotlhomo o wa ditlhopho o mametleletsweng.
You know that in local government elections you have independent candidates that they are participating.
So ra itse gore ha re tla mo ditlhophong tsa selegae re na le bontlhopheng ba ba ikemetseng ka nosi ba ba tsang karolo a ga go jalo.
So this process seeks to request members of the public political parties, NGOs, and all sectors to guide Parliament on how must we include or deal with this electoral process.
Ka jalo molaotlhomo ono o re letla gore gore ditshitshinyo tse di tshwanang le tsa batho ka bongwe jaaka lona jaana le di NPO le di NGO le ditheo tse dingwe tse di farologaneng di re thuse rona jaaka komiti go bona gore re ka dira jang gore batho ba kgone go tsaya karolo mo go nneng bontlhopheng ba ba ikemetseng ka nosi mo molaotlhomong ono o mametleletsweng wa ditlhopho.
So I thought we must just refresh for those that came late so that we are on one page.
So ne re batla go tlhalosa ntlha eno gape ka gonne go na le ba ba tlileng moragonyana ga nako gore re tlhaloganyaneng gore tota re bua ka eng fano.
Can we invite hands? We're not forcing you to, we're encouraging you to contribute. But if there's no any other contributions.
Ka jalo ga re lo pateletse bagaetsho ra lo rotloetsa fela gore ha lo batla go bua lo bue lo ntshe ditshwaelo tsa lona a gona le matsogo ape a oketsegileng
Further hands.
matsogo a oketsegileng a teng ba ba batlang go
Number
bua
one there with the SA.
a ba atamele ka kwano ka tswetswe
Any other hand?
go na le amang matsogo ope yo o batlang go bua
Greetings to all. I'm Laris Mashia, the Regional Secretary of SASCO in Dr. Roof's Romutse. I do support the bill of implementing or introducing independent candidate. But my question is, if we are going to have independent candidate, where are they going to account? Because independent candidate, they will be independent and they will work impartial. I just want a clarity on that. Or if you are independent, you elected directly to parliament, but at later stage you misbehave. Where are you going to account? Unlike if you are coming from political parties, we know there will be a disciplinary that will come in from each political party. So, and the other question that I would like to ask, because the bill, it is saying here in the introduction at page 16, 1.2, where it says the Constitution Court directed Parliament to ratify the enactment section of the Act within a period of 24 months from the date of the judgment, which 24 months is to be calculated from June 2022 to June 2022. Does that mean that from that date is given, anyone now can now participate or fully want to join to become independent, participate in Parliament? Thank you for clarity. I will just seek clarity on that. Thank you very much.
Any other hand? That's your name, my brother?
leina la gago ke mang
Lawrence
Lawrence who?
Masia.
Lawrence Mashia.
Yes.
Any other hand?
sa tsana le teng matsogo ba gaetsho
Okay. Can I check two issues?
ke
Maybe-
ke
I
rata
want-
go tlhola dintlhanyana tse pedi
Yeah, just two people, if they understand why we are here.
batho ba ka nna babedi fela ba ba ka ntlhalosetsang gore goreng re le fano a ra tlhaloganya gore re tlile go dirang fano
Or if there's a concern on this process, just two people only.
kgotsa a gona le bape ba nang le matshwenyego ka thulaganyo eno ba babedi fela
This guy's have
so don't be afraid please
Yeah, Ntate, Kabu. Just come to the podium.
Thank you once again, Chairperson.
My name is Moloko Clifford Mokoena again. Like I said earlier when I spoken that when Parliament comes to the people, it should come to the people with issues affecting the people. Nou yana batho ba tlile hano ha, ba understand se re buang ka sona hano ha gore hano ha re tletse go bua ka kgang ya goreng molao o no o sa dumelele batho gore ba ikemele ka bo bone.
So now we understand that people have come here to talk about the subject related to the fact that the Constitution had not given an opportunity in the past for independent candidates to run.
Motho a na batla go ema a etelle batho ko legislation ya province le ya national o tlhoka gore a tsene through a political party.
When someone wanted to contest for the elections in the National Assembly and in the provincial legislature, he would have to actually go through the political party.
Yaanong court ya molao.
Now the Constitutional Court
It's a ile tshwetso ya gore parlamente e reloke molao owa e go amend.
has taken a decision and asked the parliament to re-look into this law and actually amend it.
Ke instruction go tswa ko court.
So basically following the instruction from the court of law.
So batho ba rona ba tlile hano ha go tla go reetsa parlamente gore parlamente e bue le bone. That's why ha ba ema ba bua ka mathata a ba affectang because go na le gap between bona le parliament.
So our people have come here to express themselves, to speak to the parliament, but every time when they rise, they actually raise issues and their problems because there is a huge gap between the parliament and members of the society.
That's why ha ne ke simolla ke bua kere batho ba tlhopile ba etapele gore ba go dula ko parlamenteng ba tle ka tsamaiso ya country gore ya go tsamayana.
So that is why I was saying that when people are to elect those who will represent them in the parliament, they must actually do so following the processes as to how are the things going to be done.
Batho ga bana khatlego le mosose sa gore ba batla go ema ka di independent or ba batla go ema ka di organization ba batla ditirelo. That's why re ha parlamente e tla mo bathong ha e tle ka di issues tse di affectang batho.
So people have lost interest in talking about independent candidates and they are being elected through national party, legislature, etc. What we want to say is that when the parliament comes to the people, please come and speak to the people about service-related issues.
Okay, thank you.
Thank
you. Thank you, Mr. Is there any other person who want to comment on the Electoral Amendment Bill?
A gona le mongwe o batlang go ntsha ditshwaelo ka molaotlhomo ono o mametleletsweng wa ditlhopho.
On the service delivery issues, on our close on that matter, we're not going to allow it.
So ga re tle go letla ope go bua ka mathata a ditirelo.
We now understand where you are and how we're dealing with this matter.
Se ra tlhaloganya tsela e le ikutlwang ka yona le tsela e re berekisana le lona ka yona.
Can I check if there's any other person who want to comment on Electoral Amendment Bills so that we close the meeting?
Okay, o teng mo o batla go tshwaela ka molatlhomo ono wa rona o mamatleletsweng.
Number 1.
Morago ga mo then re tla be re tswalela.
Number 2. Number 3, show your hand, my brother. Sure, number 3. You can join the team here. Any other hand? We are going to work towards closing. If there's no any other input to be submitted in relation to the Electoral Amendment Bill.
Ka jalo e tla nna setlhopha sa rona fano fa go tla ba go sena ditshwalo di ba itse dingwe gape tse di oketsegileng tse di tla go tshwarelwang ka tsona ka molaotlhomo ono wa rona o mametleletsweng.
Is our understanding that this is our last hands?
So, ke matsogo a bofelo a bagaetsho, a gona le mongwe o batlang go tsena.
Number 4.
Number 4.
What the kotlo ntate or o emisa le-
Wa ikotlolla or o mise letsogo.
Okay, number 4, you can join.
Okay, wa bo number 4 o badilweng a tla go tsena bagaetsho.
Okay, is this our understanding that this is our last hands?
So, re tlhaloganya gore ba ke matsogo a rona a bofelo. Ke bone ba ba tshwaelang la bofelo jaanong.
Is your meeting, is the understanding that this is our last hands?
So kopano e ke a lona bagaetsho, ke matsogo a bofelo a ra kopang.
Okay, you can proceed.
All right. All right. Thank you, Chairperson of the session. Thank you to the Parliamentary Committee for reaching out to the people. It is very impressive to see that we've got a government that is caring. My name is Calvin Baceche Nikamancinza Zondi. I am from Bloemhof. On this bill, I think it is not a matter of discussing whether or not it should be amended. It is a constitutional issue. It is keeping with a constitutional court judgment. The only thing that is important is that we should put emphasis on regulating the participation of independent candidates. In that it cannot be correct that any person can wake up one day and decide to say, I want to contest to be the premier as an independent candidate, or I want to contest to be a president as an independent candidate. I think two things are very critical. One must be that we want people who are credible. People are complaining about service delivery issues. And it is only people who are credible who can deliver such service delivery issues. And it is people who are connected to the people. So I think that what Parliament should do, or what the bill should then seek to emphasize, is that we want people who enjoy the support of the people. And I think that we should maybe have a minimum number of people who are supporting a person across the province or across the country in the case where a person wants to contest to be a president. There should be a threshold to say one should present a minimum number of signatories who pledge to say we agree with this person. And my suggestion is that it should be 15,000 for a province. For a person to say, I want to contest to be the premier as an independent, you must bring us 15,000 signatories who are saying, and from across the province, not only from the area where the person lives. But the support should be widespread so that we can be sure that this person understands the challenges of every section of our province. And in the case of a person wanting to contest to be president, they should present 10,000 signatures per province for at least 5 provinces. A minimum of 5 provinces bringing 10,000 signatures. That should qualify a person. Otherwise, we will have a situation where we have a ballot paper or a ballot paper that has more than 20,000 names because everybody wants to contest. So we should limit by having a threshold on support for a person who wants to contest. That is one. And number 2, there should not be special treatment or favorable treatment for people just because they are independent candidates. The same rules that apply to political parties must apply to independent candidates. And that speaks in terms of your registration fees with the IEC and all other things. The same registration that is paid by political parties, independent candidates must be in a position to pay the same. It can't be different in the case of independent candidates. Thank you.
Next. Next.
Dumelang bagaetsho. Leina la me ke Tebogo Ramose ke leloko la African National Congress.
Greetings, I am Tebogo Amos and I am a member of the African National Congress.
Ke Tebogo Ramose.
Tebogo Ramose.
I would like to say that I support the bill because it gives effect to the constitutional judgment. It also gives effect to the political rights and gives effect to the rights of individuals to be able to contest for election at the national and provincial sphere without subscribing to a political party or partisan structures. But I would like to say that even if I support the bill, I support it with conditions. The first condition is that the independent candidate must pay a reasonable amount in order to contest the election at the national and provincial sphere. Secondly, they must meet certain number of prospective voters. There must be a petition in which those independent candidates must meet, because we will have a nightmare where everyone and anyone will want to contest elections and our ballot papers will be lengthy and there will be a logistical nightmare for the IEC. I would also like to say that the independent candidate and political parties, there must be on separate ballot. There must be a ballot paper for independent candidates and there must be a ballot paper for political parties so that we can shorten the ballot paper so that our illiterate voters can be able to express their right to vote easily. Firstly, thirdly, I would like to say that although the independent candidate must be allowed to contest election, they must meet a certain threshold, because we have a situation in our country where the ANC can make a seat in parliament can be a 40,000. But for smaller parties and maybe independent candidates, they can only meet a minimum number, but they can gain a seat in parliament. So I would like to say that as much as the ANC, there should be a threshold applicable to the ANC and other bigger political parties. That threshold must also apply to the smaller parties and independent candidates. I would also like to raise the question about where will this independent candidate account to? Because in political parties, you have a situation where a member who commits a misconduct will go through the processes of his party and the party will be able to remove him. But in the context where we have a novel culture, where we introduce an independent candidate, I believe that there should be a body that will regulate independent candidates who commit misconduct. That body, if a person maybe commits a misconduct, that body will be able to listen to him, that person will make presentation before that body, and that body will make a determination whether that independent candidate will be removed or will not be removed. Or we will have a situation where the impunity culture flourishes in terms of the independent candidates. So we need to curtail that culture by making a structure that will specifically deal with the misconduct or mishaps of the independent candidate. So I would also like to say that those who manipulate the processes, those who buy votes, whether independent or they are from political parties, they must also be dealt with accordingly. They must be removed. They must also be removed from being eligible to contest election. Thank you.
Thank you. Next.
Thank you very much. Once again, I'm on the podium. We do support the bill, but we need to check first if the bill is going to work for the youth. I was suggesting, because this is a bill, we need to engage on it. I was suggesting that for this bill, for either to listen or to
Can we
support.
check? You are repeating,
Yes,
and you have been captured.
indeed.
Yes. Can you allow others to
Okay.
input?
Okay,
Yeah.
very clear.
a ke tsena kwe go leboga le go lebega parlamente ya rona gore be kgonne go tla mo baaging e tle go utlwa dilelo tsa bone.
Let me take this opportunity to thank our parliament for having been able to come into the community to come and listen to their submissions.
Re support-a thata kganye ya gore go amendiwe molawana o.
We wholeheartedly support this matter of amending the law, the bill.
Gape re lebeletse thata selebego le sebopego sa dikgwetlho kgolo tse re lebaganang le tsone mo metsemagaeng, di-service delivery jalo le jalo.
And we are looking very strictly at different types of challenges that we are facing in rural areas and other areas that are related to the service deliveries.
Re iphitlhela thata mo e leng gore re lemoga thata mo e leng gore go na le dintwa thata tsa sepolotiki tse e leng gore di dira gore re nne le ditirelo tse e leng gore di ko morago thata.
And then we have come to realize that there are some internal fights within political parties which are actually creating a backlogs when it comes to service deliveries.
Go na le batho ba e leng gore ga bana pitso ya go etelela pele mme ka ntlha ya gore ba mo boeteledipeleng gore mo le kokolengweng mme ba e leng gore ga ba batliwe go etelela pele ke ba le kokoleo mme re itlhala e le gore go na le dintwa tse e leng gore di dira gore go nne le tshallo morago ya ditirelo mo baaging ba rona.
There are some people who naturally don't have a gift to be leaders, but they are being liked by some of their fellow party members, and they want them to be leaders, and all of these things create a lot of internal fights, which creates, as I said again, backlogs when it comes to service deliveries.
Ha re lebella mo dimasepaleng tsa rona service delivery se letse ko morago thata mme e tlholwa ke dintwa tse e leng gore di re itlhala di ipharile mo di-counseleng tsa rona.
And then when we look very closely into our political parties, we find that yes, today there are a lot of internal fights that even affect the councillors, and this actually affects very negatively service deliveries.
So tshwantse re lebelele ebile re bone gore molao o ka bo one ha motho a tlhophiwa ke baagi mme e le gore ga ikarabele ko lekokong le le rileng le ha go na le lekoko le e leng gore le eteletse pele mme go na le ba e leng gore ba batliwa ke baagi e tla re berekela thata le go tlisa phetogo mo selebegong sa ditirelo ka kakaretso mo kgaolong tse di harologaneng.
So we have to take note of the fact that when someone is an independent candidate and who does not subscribe to one of the political parties, this is something that can bring about improvements when it comes to the challenges that have been faced by different members of the community. So something that has to be taken into consideration along those lines.
Every year, our government is popping out money to ensure that service delivery di tla ko baaging ba rona mara ga re bone diphetogo dipe mme re ipotsa gore kgangkgolo ke eng a ke ntwa se polotiki kampo ke eng.
So we see a lot of money being popped up for service deliveries, but now there is no change taking place in the communities. Now we wonder as to what exactly is the problem that causes all of these things. Are these political fights? What is it?
So tshwantse re lebelele re be re itepanye le mathata e leng gore re lebella gore tota re lebagane le one jaaka re le badudi mme re lebelele gore a batho ba e leng gore ba kgethiwa ba ba kgethiwa ke political party kampo ba batliwa gape ke baagi.
So we have to make sure that we focus on our problems, and once we have them clear in focus, then we have to look in those who have been elected. Have these people been elected by the members of the society, of the community, or by the political party?
So tshwantse re go lebelela le for a political party ya go tla ka motho wa bone gore e nne mokhanselara.
So we would like to have some meetings held, maybe by a political party, before that particular party comes to the people to discuss one of their members who might be opted for a leader.
So re itemogela gore we even go na le gore motho a kgethiwe ke baagi. Mara bo go tswa mo le political party eo gore ke mang ba ba go di ranking ba ba go godimo gore a ba dumalana le yo rileng. O itlhala le gore o batliwa ke baagi. Ga heletse a tlhopiwe.
Sometimes-
Mme yo e leng gore ene o itsagale le boeteledipele go godimo ke ene o itlhelang a tlhopiwe ke mo e leng gore le lebella so se diragetse le mo ditlhophong tse di hitileng.
So this is something that happened in the recent local elections. You find that maybe there is someone who can stand as an independent candidate, but from within the party, they will start to search and look as to who seems to qualify. Now, all of a sudden, most of the time, you'll find that someone who will be opted will be someone from within the party, maybe someone who's occupying some high station among them there, whereas the very person who is outside, who could actually stand as an independent candidate, is the one whom people want, but now he's going to fail. He will never be opted as to run as an independent candidate, because everybody within the party wants the one whom they have actually identified.
Jaanong ke rata gore parlamente ya rona molawana o hitise.
So now I would like to say that the parliament must pass this bill.
Gore ba ba itepatepanya mo dipolotiking ba ye go ipaakanya.
So that those who are entering into political, who are, so that for those who are running for these elections must actually go and prepare themselves for this.
Gore re kgone go nna le ditirelo tse di yang go baaging ba rona.
So that they can-
Particularly in the Northwest Province.
So that they can be able to make sure that the service deliveries is actually given to the people. So golbogolo mo bokone bophirima.
So re tla leboga thata ha ile gore boeteledipele ba rona ba ileng gore ba mo araneng ya dipolotiki ba boe ko baaging ba ye go utlwa gore baagi ba batla bomang.
So now we will be very glad if those who are running for and contesting for these elections, they must come back to the community, speak to them, and actually get to hear what is their needs. What are their needs?
Ke a leboga.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next. Your name, my brother?
Leina ra o fetsa go bua ntate? A gift ba tseile. Ba hedile.
No, gift Babeile.
Ba beile, yes.
Gift Babeile. Thank you. You can proceed.